Hello there, it's Liz. This is the card that I'll be sharing with you today. I'm just going to show you how I did this center piece rather than doing completely beginning to end. So let me just tell you a couple things. This card base is crumb cake, an 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock cut in half. This right here is actually a retired piece of paper, but we definitely have black and white papers in our current catalog. So if you're looking for the black and white, you can find something similar, okay? And then what I'll be using here is shimmery white. And my colors that I'm using are real red and granny apple green. And this is a little piece of red ribbon here, and that is also in our catalog. Okay, so let's get started with this. Again, this is shimmery white. Let me make sure we're seeing well in here. Okay, we are. This is shimmery white cardstock. First off, I'm going to say, excuse my nails. I know they're not looking pretty today. I've been helping a friend with painting her house, and I decided until we're done doing that, it's not really worth redoing the nails. So when I'm done, I'll redo them. But for now, it is what it is, okay? So I'll be using the stamp set Apple Harvest, and this is in the mini catalog. I'll be doing a class coming up in September using this stamp set, so if you're local to me, check that out. Apple Harvest, and then the dies. If you look at this here, I love this scallop around the edge, and it has like a little stitching mark in there. That comes from not a new die set. This is in the catalog before. It's called Scalloped Contours Dies, and it has all of these pieces, different sizes of the rectangles with the scalloped edges. So check that one out, okay? Again, it's called Scalloped Contours Dies. So let me set that aside. Because I'm going to be using Stampin Blends, and again, I have real red. I have dark real red and light real red. All the Stampin Blends come with a dark and a light. And then I have dark granny apple green and light granny apple green. Okay, so we'll set those down. Because these are alcohol-based markers, you want to use Memento ink for stamping your outline rather than StazOn. So let's ink this up. When it's a larger stamp, sometimes it's much easier to lay it upside down and ink this way. Then you can make sure you can see that you're getting all of your image inked well. Okay, I think we're good. So let's go ahead. I'm just going to stamp this right in the center because I'm going to cut it out later on. Just press down all around. You don't want to rock, you're just pressing evenly. And there we go. Okay? All right, so that's what I have at the moment. So I'm going to start with my dark colors first. So let's do the dark real red. Just make sure, I will say with these, make sure that the lids, you hear this. Let's see, let me take that off a second. And you want to hear this sound. Okay? You want to hear that sound, otherwise they are not, the lids are not on all the way and they will dry out. So make sure that happens when you're doing this. Okay, so let's take the real red. With these markers, you don't want to go back and forth like other markers or you will ruin your tips. So even though it may seem like I'm doing that, I'm not. I'm picking up in between each little stroke here. There is a bullet end and there's a brush end. That's up to you. It's sometimes when you get into a small space, it's easier to use the bullet end rather than the brush end. So I'm doing the dark color just around the edges, and again picking up in between each stroke rather than going back and forth. Sometimes when I hear someone say I don't feel like it's blending, keep coloring, keep going, keep going, keep going. Layers. You want layers, layers, layers. The more layers of ink you put on, the more it will blend. Make sure that you have something underneath what you're working on because they will bleed through the back. Know that if you're doing that on a card, like if you're going to do it right on the front of a card base rather than on this piece, it will bleed through this back part here. So you might not want to do that. I'll show you in just a second if this is new to you. Okay, so I'm doing my dark parts first. Let's do the dark green. What I'm going to do with the dark granny apple green is I'm going down the veins, the center, of my leaves. I was not a person who necessarily enjoyed coloring prior to these markers. And now I will tell you with these markers, it is so relaxing. I enjoy it so much more. Yeah, I can't get enough of these Stampin' Blends. They are a little more on the pricier end, but if you look at some other markers that are kind of in the same, in the same market with other brands, they are very reasonably priced, because you can definitely find ones that are a lot more expensive than what these are. They are $9 for a set, and a set is a light and dark. Okay, so I'm gonna stop right there. Okay, so my dark parts are done there. Okay, so we're gonna go back in with my light red, and what I want to do is pull in. I'm starting from the outside and I'm pulling in. So you're going right into the dark ink and pull in. And layers, 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 layers. Just keep pulling in. If you feel like, oh, that didn't really blend, keep doing layers. The more layers you put on, the more you're going to get it blended. And when I say layers, I just mean just keep going, keep coloring. If you want to leave like a little bit of a white spot like that, so you have like maybe where the sun would hit, I'll show you another little trick with that in a second. Okay, so look at this, that maybe you forgot that you wanted to leave a little white spot and you forgot. I'm going to show you something in a second that we also have. Okay, so I did that one. I think, oh shoot, I wanted to leave a little white spot there. Let me show you something. There is a, nope, that's not it. Hang on a second, guys. Here we go. Sorry about that. There is this marker here, the Stampin' Right. It's called a color lifter. Okay, so what it does, I don't even know if it's like lifting the color, but it pushes away. I think it should be more called like a color pusher, but it's white. And what it does is, if I say, well, I wanted a little white spot right here where like the sun hit it, you can use this white one. It's called a color lifter, and you can push. And it will push the color away, so you end up with a little white spot. So it's a great for little sunspots on your projects. Okay, I'll put this up here. Can you see this? Do you see where those little white spots are? Love that. So that's called the color lifter. Great to add to your collection. All right, let's go back in with the green now. We got our apples in there. We're going to pull back in with the green. And again, pick up in between. I'm not going back and forth. And I'm going where I did the dark color, and I'm pulling out from the dark color. And you'll see it's not taking a lot of time, right? Okay, so you're getting the idea there. And if you do all this and you think, well, I'd still like just a slight bit more shading, I don't really see the dark as much as I would like it to be. When you're done doing this light color, I'm not going to do the whole thing right now, you can come back with your dark one and do layers. And so come back again if you want, maybe use the bullet tip, and you can add another layer of the dark on top. You think like, okay, it blended maybe a little too much. Come back in and add that dark in there. Okay. So I'm not getting the rest of this here, but I just wanted you to get that idea how that works. Okay, so again, I had the Granny Apple Green, light and dark. I had Real Red, light and dark. And I used the color lifter, and that was able to give these like little sunspots on there. And then I used the Scalloped Contours die to cut that shape out and attached it right here onto the card base. So I hope that gave you an idea. Grab some Stampin Blends if you do not have them. Right here, stampinontherock.com. I can help you out too. Shoot me a message. Hope you have a great day. If you like what you see, hit that share button. Talk with you later. Bye-bye.